So 34 years ago, this year, LL Cool J dropped his fourth album, Mama Said Knock You Out. It's crazy. Like next year, because I think Crush Groove came out in 1985. So next year will be 40 years since we first saw LL Cool J. 40 years, man. At this point, LL should look like Morgan Freeman. Shout out to Morgan Freeman. But yeah, LL is like timeless. He's like an ageless dude. I don't know if LL will ever get old. It's crazy. But Mama Said Knock You Out was a crucial album for LL because he was coming off a bad album. So prior to that, LL could do no wrong. He was in Crush Groove for like a minute. He blew up from that because people was like, well, who's that guy? He drops the 12-inch of I Need a Beat. That blows up. He drops Radio, his debut album. That blows up. He drops Bigger and Deffer. And that, even though that didn't cross over, it was a massive, massive hip-hop classic. Massive album. Which he changed the game with I Need Love. Now, to be fair, I was not a fan of I Need Love back in the day. Even now, I'll listen to it, but it's not like one of my favorite hip hop love tracks. I was a bigger fan of like One Love by Houdini. That was like the track I really liked better than that. But I understood it, right? But yeah, he changed the game with that. You know, guys weren't doing like love songs too much like that, but he changed it, right? So he's riding high. Then after that, I think he did the Less Than Zero soundtrack. That's when you get Going Back to Cali, and the flip side, Jack the Ripper. One of the best B-side hip-hop 12 inches ever. Going Back to Cali is a cold-blooded song by itself. And then you hit me with Jack the Ripper where he's ripping Kumo D. Oh! You kids have no idea. So he's riding high, right? And then we get to Walking with a Panther. Everything fell apart. LL's one of those guys who needs a strong producer with him. Radio, he has Rick Rubin. The second album, Bigger and Deffer, he has the LA Posse. Something happened with the LA Posse when by the time it got to Walking with a Panther, and Todd only ended up working with one of the guys from that crew, and he ended up working with the wrong guy. It's not his fault. It's just LL really needed a strong producer. Like even down the road when he working with the Trackmasters, like he needs strong producers because he might have a whole bunch of ideas, but I think he needs someone who can help rein him in and then find the best cuts. And I think with Walking with a Panther, they just did everything, and it was too many love songs on it. Because again, if you had success with I Need Love, I guess you figured, well, I'll just do more of that. It was just too overblown. Now he did have some hits off that album. He had I'm That Type of Guy, great underrated hip hop track. Love that song. Big Old Butt, which is like you can't have a greatest hits album by LL Cool J and not have Big Old Butt. So they did a couple of good tracks, but then they had One Shot at Love, which is like his second attempt of like I Need Love, like I Need Love Part 2. And cats were into that album. They went into that song. At that point, people were into Public Enemy and Boogie Down Productions, Big Daddy Kane, Juice Crew, De La Soul. Like cats were like wearing starting to wear African medallions. Like New Jack Swing was kicking in. Like the stuff that LL was doing with Bigger and Deffer just wasn't working again with like love stuff. Cats weren't feeling that at that point. The only like Big Daddy Kane could do love-ish type tunes, but you know he almost had like a pimpish type thing with his. Like a very white thing with his, so it didn't click with anybody. But there was one track off that album that would catapult into Mama Said Knock You Out, and that's Jiggling Baby. Jiggling Baby, the original version was on Walking with a Panther. And for some reason, Marley Marl, producer extraordinaire, remixed that track. And that track blew up. Jiggling Baby remix is just it's like one of his LL's best songs. Just a good party song. LL's dancing. It's like, oh my God, look at LL dancing in that video. He never dances. It was great. Great video, great song. And then go back to the thing about strong producers, then Marley Marl produces Mama Said Knock You Out. And that changed LL's career forever. I don't think LL would have gotten NCIS Los Angeles. I don't think he would have got Deep Blue. I don't think he would have got In the House with Alfonso Ribeiro and Debbie Allen if it wasn't for Mama Said Knock You Out. Mama Said Knock You Out crossed over and introduced LL Cool J to a pop audience who otherwise might have heard about him, but they weren't playing his songs on the radio. For some reason, pop fans love Mama Said Knock You Out. Now, Mama Said Knock You Out is a great tune, but I have no idea why of all his tracks, that was the one that kind of did it, right? So let's get into the album. So if you look at the album, it really didn't have a lot of hits. It's not like one of those albums like I talked about Janet Jackson went 7 songs deep. It wasn't that type of album. Like it had some really good tracks on there, but as far as like singles that blew up, it only had a few. Like the first song was Booming Systems. Good song. Great when you listen to it in headphones. Great when you listen to it in a car. He used a flow like Rakim, because at that point, the guys was adopting that style. Will Smith did it for Summertime. Great tune. They remixed it too because they had the In Vogue bass line from Hold On, but they kind of amplified it more on the remix. Great, just great. I love Booming Systems. So good. You don't hear it that much, but it's great. Then we have Mama Said Knock You Out. I knew that song was a hit because it's a great track, but what got me is towards the end, and they sampled or scratched in Rock the Bells. That I excel, they all fail. I was like, oh my God, they took his debut track, one of his strongest track from that debut album, and put it in this new track? They took 1985 Tide and put it in 1990 Tide? That was genius. I play that song over and over, and the part that I loved the most was I excel, they all fail, because it's like, wow, who would even think of doing that? I don't know if it was Marley. I don't know if it was Tide, because LL produced a lot of stuff he didn't take credit for. I don't know whose idea it was, but it's genius. Whoever came up with the idea, that is fantastic. So then Mama Said Knock You Out blows up. And then we get to the track, which, here's the thing. If I ask you what's your favorite track off that album, and you say Mama Said Knock You Out, I know you're just a fan of that song, which is great. Wonderful, great song. I have no problems with that. You're going with the popular choice. If you say that your favorite song off that album is 6 Minutes of Pleasure or Illegal Search, I was like, oh, okay. You like the deep cuts. You are a true fan. Okay, I see you. But if you say your favorite song is Around the Way Girl, we're going to have to talk. Because I was thinking about what's my favorite LL Cool J track of all time. And it's that one. And he's made a lot of great songs. But man, wherever I hear Around the Way Girl, I stop and watch that video or listen to that song. There's songs that I listen to that puts me in a good mood. And I will stop and always listen to these tracks. Let's see, Zhané's Hey Mr. DJ, even Zhané's Groove Thing. Zhané was great. Jaheim's Could It Be, After Party by Koffee Brown, definitely My Boo by the Ghost City DJs. There are certain tracks, Ice Cream by Ghostface and Raekwon and Meth, but especially Around the Way Girl. It puts me back in 1990. It puts me back into a happier time. It puts me in a space of, it's a New Jack Swing track, but it's not a New Jack Swing track. Like some New Jack Swing tracks age great, like My Prerogative. Like that's just, Groove Me by Guy. Like those songs will never age. Some New Jack Swing tracks sounds like, oh, okay, this came out in 1990. It's fun for 1990. I just don't feel like listening to it right now. I don't feel like dancing right now. Around the Way Girl has those chords. It has those like Teddy Riley type chords. And it just puts me in a good mood. The women look great in that video. Because again, like it was saying, stand on the bus stop, suck on a lollipop. Like it just puts you in that era, man. It's so good. It's just, and then, he was having a good time. The video was directed by Paris Barclay. Paris Barclay, he's the guy in the video who tells LL, like, hey man, they love you in the malls, man. Like he went from that to directing TV shows like NYPD Blue. He's a great TV director. And I kind of miss that storyline of video directors like David Fincher, who directs like early Paula Abdul videos, and then he ended up directing Seven with Brad Pitt and Fight Club with Brad Pitt and I think Benjamin Button too. So yeah, so I miss that stories of video directors turn directors like F. Gary Gray. I miss that. But yeah, I love Around the Way Girl. You can't. To me, that's my favorite LL Cool J track of all time. Which I think I'll end it here. Like below, naming your 5 favorite LL Cool J songs. Like it might not be Around the Way Girl for you, but he made so many great tracks, you can't really go wrong. So yeah, below, tell me your 5 favorite tracks from LL Cool J, and what is your favorite song from Mama Said Knock You Out?